my baby. The Model Speakers Academy launches this month. It's getting very, very close. The website and everything is getting fine tuned. And I'm going to start hosting webinars pretty soon. So stay on the lookout for the dates of the webinars so you can learn all about the Model Speakers Academy, because we all are models. We all are modeling something. And the model that I'm talking about is motivate, organize, deliver, engage, and lead. So I want to help you model your best when it comes to speaking, when it comes to communicating your ideas, articulating your thoughts. All of it's possible. And so that's what the Model Speakers Academy is here to do. But I am so happy to have Alyssa Zonghetti here today. She's going to tell you about herself, her business, and she has a very interesting spin of what she does. So I'm so, so excited to have her here today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Alyssa.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be here. I love what you're doing, and I love this conversation about public speaking. As you mentioned, I have a little bit of a different twist on my career, and I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. And so people always have these preconceived notions. I'm not someone that's out there waving pocket watches or making people quack like a duck or bark like a dog. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about creating shifts in our subconscious mind to help build our confidence, to overcome fears, phobias, and even change habits.
Wow, and that's so good because yes, you're right. A lot of people do have that, you're getting sleepy and that type of thing when they think of hypnotists, but that's not the case. You're really trying to help people get, I guess, to that inner voice, because we have our own thoughts and we believe what we tell ourselves more than anyone else. And so if you have a broken record that you're listening to that's holding you back, especially in the area of speaking, then this could definitely be a helpful tool. So kudos to you for your business. And what is the name of your business or your brand?
Yeah, so it's called A to Z Hypnotherapy. So little play on my initials, but showing people that you can use hypnosis from anything from A to Z. It truly, there's so many different areas of life that you can use hypnosis for.
Wow. And we talked a little bit beforehand, and I shared that I did a virtual hypnotist meeting, trying to help me to learn how to swim. And so I didn't really, I guess you can say, learn how to swim, but I am comfortable around water. So, what are your thoughts? Can someone get a one time treatment and be ready to go, or is this a process?
So it's definitely a process, right? As you just mentioned before, a lot of these subconscious thoughts that we have are deep rooted, right? They've been building up over years. A lot of times, especially when it comes to public speaking, a lot of that may have stemmed from early on. When you were a child, maybe somebody stifled your voice and didn't make you feel comfortable to speak up for yourself, or maybe you had to give a presentation in school and didn't do well or got nervous. So a lot of that stuff is deep rooted. Same thing, if there's like a fear of water, a fear of swimming, which is so common. People have a lot of fears around the dentist, fear of flying, right? That didn't just come out of nowhere. That's
Right.
probably usually a little bit more deep rooted. So we really need to peel back the layers, find out where those subconscious beliefs came from, and then
Mhm.
work to recreate them. So it's not magic. Again, it's not going to like snap your fingers in one session. It's all going to be fixed. You'll absolutely see results in that first session, but to really create the lasting change and transformations, it does take multiple sessions.
Wow. Well, thanks for explaining that. So I'm going to jump right into our questions.
Let's
Why
go
do
for
you
it.
believe public speaking is a crucial skill for business professionals today?
Well, as we were just chatting briefly before this, right? It's not about just standing on a stage and public speaking, right? We are representing ourselves anywhere we go, whether it's in a coffee shop, in a sales pitch meeting, trying to win new clients, in a networking event. We are always representing ourselves. And so it's important to be able to know how to communicate. It goes beyond public speaking. It's having that confidence
Right.
to be who you are authentically. And a lot of times for business owners, right, you want to show that you're an authority in your space, but you want to
Right.
be approachable, you want to be vulnerable. There's all these things, right, that we're trying to layer onto it. But it's really important. I work with a lot of clients, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who don't want to show up on social media.
Mm,
They get very uncomfortable. They don't like doing lives and things like this. They might be okay with like putting up the posed photo because that was a moment in time that they can edit and feel confident about. But
Right.
showing up in real time is really, really tricky for a lot of people, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And so that's why I think it's great that you are creating conversations around this, because so many people struggle with this. But it's like a muscle we can build, and we can get more. The more we do it, the more comfortable we get with it. But also, using tools like hypnosis can also support us in recreating the thoughts in our minds around this. We can change the thoughts of this is hard, this is bad, this is
Right.
scary. Right? We
Yeah.
with hypnosis, you can change all of that. So I think it's really important for any professional,
Mhm.
um, whether you're a business owner, a corporate leader, whatever your role is out in the world. I mean, for anybody, you don't even have to be in the corporate or professional world too, right? Just anybody. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to be a good communicator. And I think we live in this world too where we hide behind screens a lot. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of times that people don't know how to communicate in person anymore.
Yeah, and I do. I'm glad you brought that up because with social media and just the internet, it's a great advancement, but people have lost the skills of just communicating, the art of communication. You can go in a restaurant and people are waiting on their food and everybody's looking at their phone typing. Four people are at the table, but nobody's talking. And it's just
Yes,
like we don't talk and we don't communicate with each other anymore. So people have forgotten how to carry on a casual conversation, how to talk about the weather, how
right.
to, talk about the holidays, just general stuff that you can just talk about, but people don't feel comfortable doing it. I was even jokingly saying that Thanksgiving's coming up, and how many people are going to shy away from doing the prayer before you eat because you don't even want to have the eyes on you in that moment. So it's just so many small opportunities where people are not able to express themselves. So, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're a professional or not. Just being able to communicate confidently is something that everyone needs to know how to do.
Yes, absolutely agree.
Yes. Okay, so my second question is, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business?
Yeah, so I mean, there's honestly, I have a few probably situations. So, the people that I was talking about that like don't feel comfortable showing up on social media or don't want to be the center of attention,
Mhm.
that was me.
Oh, okay.
I've been an entrepreneur for years, and that was always the part. I actually started my career as a corporate event planner.
Hmm.
So I literally built a career around being behind the scenes and not having to be the center of attention. But
Hmm.
when I started to become an entrepreneur and needed to be the face of my business, that was a tough lesson to learn. And just really being, as you're creating a brand, right? You as an individual is a brand. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter, again, if you have a business or something you sell, but you as an individual are a brand. And so, again, we have to be able to confidently put ourselves out there, whether you're trying to land a job, land a new client, or maybe you're out there dating, right? So,
Right. All
whatever
of it.
it may be, right? We're trying to put ourselves out there. And so that was something very scary for me, because that was just not what I was used to. I was better off being the wallflower
Hmm.
and letting everybody else shine. Like, that was always what I was good at, was helping others to shine. So
Hmm.
even for myself, it was a journey that I had to go on to be like, okay, like, let's do this. You can do this. You are capable of this. And
Yes.
what does that look like for me, right? What might work for someone else isn't going to work for me. As you can probably see, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands, right?
I do too.
And so a lot of times you talk to some professional, public speaking coaches and things. They're like, don't talk with your hands. Don't talk with your hands. I'm like, but that's me. That's who I am.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'm going to try to control it, but that is who I am, and I am personally going to embrace who I am authentically, because to me, that's what makes me more real, and I connect with people
Hmm.
versus being this robot in front of someone.
Right. I love that you brought that up because you are showing that you can start somewhere, but you can always change your story. So you started out not being comfortable speaking publicly, like you said, being the supporter, being the person behind the scenes, but because you knew you wanted your business to be successful, you had to change that story. You had to change it, and you were able to embrace it. And I also like that you said that you embrace everything that made you authentically you. So if you talk with your hands, you talk with your hands. Like, you don't
Hmm.
have to necessarily follow the status quo of what people say you should do. Yes, there's different skills or different things that are preferred, but ultimately you want to be your most comfortable self when you're talking to somebody, whether it's a big group or if it's one on one. It can come through when you're most comfortable or when you're being authentically yourself. So that's what it is. It's about embracing everything that makes you who you are and just putting it out there, being willing to change the story, being willing to step outside of that box. Because just
Yes.
because I might be introverted or extroverted doesn't mean that I can't shift if I want to have success. So if I'm introverted, yeah, I can speak up when necessary. And if I'm extroverted, maybe I need to calm down some
Yeah.
and let somebody else speak. So it's about being
Absolutely.
able to make those shifts. So just because this is your personality does not mean that you cannot flow or change or accommodate new situations if it's going to prove to be successful for you. You know, you have to be willing to do that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So another little story I will share is that as I was doing my certification to become a hypnotherapist, I am very self-conscious about my voice.
Okay.
And I was very concerned. I'm like, how am I going to use my voice every day to work with clients? I felt so uncomfortable about it. Like essentially hypnosis is like a guided meditation. So I need to be able to speak to people in a certain way, a certain tone, get them relaxed. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. And it was a very interesting journey for me because, again, when I was younger, someone made fun of my voice at a young age, and that has always stuck with me. And I even remember bringing it up in my certification classes to the instructor, and she's like, okay, well, can I poll everyone else in the room, like, and give you feedback on your voice? And everybody else had such a different perception.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's very interesting. The number one feedback I get from my clients is how soothing and calming my voice is to them.
Wow.
Something that I have such fear and insecurities over, people were perceiving it so much differently. I
Mm,
think that's another good point that people need to realize is that that might be something that you're perceiving, but the outside world may be perceiving it totally differently.
absolutely. And your voice is fine, by the way. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank
I'm like, what are you talking about? But yeah, that's true. I feel like we are our worst critics. We always tend to be negative or speak more harshly or think more harshly about ourselves than how we treat other people. So we
you. Right.
give people grace and extend them kindness, but we don't extend it to ourselves.
So
And
true.
so it's unfortunate that we do that. But also, again, things from our childhood, things from our past can sometimes be a heavy tote or a bag that we're carrying and don't even realize it. And it's like, well, where did that idea come from, or where did that notion came from that something is wrong with this or something's wrong with that? So we have to be able to dig deep and
Yes.
confront those stories and find out, what's the origin of this, so that we can make a change. Because, like you said, other people don't even see what we're seeing, but it's because it's us. We're thinking the worst. And even when I say with speaking, a lot of times people are like, when people in the audience are looking at me and they're probably thinking in their head that I'm doing horrible, they might be thinking about what they're going to have for dinner tonight. They're probably thinking about, I got to pick up dry cleaning. I got to, deal with the dog. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own thoughts. So we give people too much credit. People are not thinking about us as much as we think they are. And that's with
Oh
social
my gosh.
media posts,
So true.
everything. Yeah.
Yes, so true. I'll never forget a colleague said this to me years ago. She said, people are not thinking about you that much. She's like, get over yourself.
Right.
People are not thinking about you that much. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, I don't think about others that much, right? Like you said.
Right.
So I think you are spot on there.
Yeah, it's in our mind. We all think we're very important people, and we're VIP and everything else. But on the average, people aren't not not that concerned. So we have to really give ourselves a break and just kind of don't take things too seriously and
Yes.
just be ourselves. Just be your best self. And guess what? If there is something wrong with whatever it is, can I change it? No. So if I can't change it, then I need to embrace it and do the best I can with it. So if I don't like how I look, unless I got a lot of money to do cosmetic surgery, this is
Yeah.
how I'm gonna look. If I don't like my voice, too bad. This is the voice I have. Be glad I can talk. Right? So
Yes.
we have to learn how to shift the point of view and that perspective, and just be blessed and glad that we're able to do what we can do. And that's what makes us who we are. That's uniquely a part of who I am. That's my DNA. That's me. And there's somebody out there who can appreciate what I have to offer. So that's what we have to also
Yes.
tell
Oh
ourselves.
my gosh. All of that. So well said.
Thank you so much. And so my third question is, what are some common public speaking challenges that business professionals face, and how can they overcome them?
Well, I think we're talking about a few, but what I definitely see a lot is just lack of confidence.
Hmm.
No matter what I work with my clients on, I really have seen no matter what it is, it's all really rooted in three things. It's either a lack of self confidence, a
Hmm.
lack of self worth, or a lack of self love, or a combination of those.
Wow.
Whether it's again like a fear of public speaking, whether it's confidence in your business, whether it's fear of the dentist, right?
Hmm.
Like most times it's rooted in some version or combination of those. And so I think when it comes to public speaking, we either don't feel worthy of it, we're
Mm,
not confident about it, as you were just saying, right? We have all these insecurities about ourselves, whether it be physical, mental, whatever it may be.
mhm.
And we just really get in our own heads. And then we get in this loop, right?
Right, right.
Once you're in that loop, it's really hard to get out. And so then we just talk ourselves out of it. That's our brains keeping us safe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when we get scared and we want to go to what's comfortable. So what's comfortable is to retreat away from it, to back away from it, to not put ourselves out there, because
Right.
that's our brain's way of keeping us safe.
Mhm,
But if we push through, try
mhm.
something new, get outside that comfort zone. Yes, I know it all sounds corny, but that is where the good stuff happens, because you're going to inspire somebody. Your story, I'm very passionate about sharing your story,
Mhm.
because we all have a story. We've all had unique experiences, and those stories can help someone else. So, like,
Absolutely.
put your story out there, speak your story, whether it's to one person or 1,000 people. That one person you speak to could really make a difference. So, right there alone, like, get out there and speak.
Right, exactly. And like you said, it's one of those three things, it goes back to that lack of self-worth, self-love, our confidence. And we critique ourselves so harshly. And it's like we're afraid of making a mistake, but we're all human. So mistakes are going to happen. But we can't let those disappointments or those mistakes hold us back. Like you said, we got to push through it. It's uncomfortable, it's scary. You want to protect yourself by hiding, but you're limiting yourself. And, we don't know what could be on the other side of that push or that decision to go ahead and go for it. I personally don't like to live with regret. So that's what's been helping me keep going, because I don't want to look back on my life and be like, dang, what would have happened if you'd have opened the Model Speakers Academy? Or what would have happened if you'd have moved to this state, or you would have tried, for this position or applied for this job? We just don't know what could happen. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I don't want to deal with regret. So I'd rather do something and fail and at least know, hey, I tried, it didn't work out. Or maybe that didn't work, let me try something else, than to not try at all and then always have that question mark like, what could have been? I
Mhm.
don't want that.
Oh, I'm so with you. And right, like, I used to like the term fail forward,
Mhm.
but even more so, right? To me, it's not failures. It's like you said, you're trying something, like, okay, maybe that didn't work. Like, so what else does it look like? Or, maybe this just isn't for me. So now I've ruled that out, and now I can
Right.
try something new. So it's not necessarily even a failure, in my opinion, but it's part of the process. It's part of the elimination process, right? Like, yeah, whether
Right.
you're trying to grow a business or maybe choose a career path, like, I have, young nieces and nephews that are in college and trying to figure out like where they're going next. And I'm like, we put on these teens that it's like, make this big decision because it's a
Right.
forever
Right.
decision. And it's like, no, I wish someone had told me back then,
Mhm.
you can change. Just because what you choose today doesn't mean it can't change a month from now or 5 years or 10 years from now.
Right.
Like, go with what you think, give it a shot, and see what happens. And maybe it's
Exactly.
not going to be for you, but then it's going to lead you to what is for you. And I think
Absolutely.
public speaking is the same thing.
Right. It's all about discovery, and we can never stop discovering, or we should never stop discovering, no matter how old you get, the time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
Continue to reinvent yourself, continue to try different things out, because ultimately you have to be the one satisfied. So stop allowing other people's narratives, their thoughts about what you should be or do control you. Like, no, if you're passionate about it, that's what you want to happen, then go for it. Like you said, what's the bad thing about it? I think we are afraid of failure so bad that we just don't do anything, and that's worse. So just go ahead, like you said, it's not necessarily failing for it, or it could be failing for it, but you're just finding out what's going to work for you. And
Yeah,
how do you know if you don't try it? So we got to be willing to try.
exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. So my last question is, what is one essential tip you would give to someone looking to improve their public speaking skills?
I think for me, it's just get out there and do it. Keep practicing, keep doing it. Put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, whether it's striking up a conversation with someone in the coffee shop or getting on and doing, a live here on Facebook or Instagram, right? Like, put
Right.
yourself out there, put yourself in these rooms. I talk about it all the time. People think I'm actually very extroverted. Well, I'm really not. Like, you put me in a networking room where I don't know anybody, and I retreat. Like, I don't want to be there. But
Mhm.
gosh, this was back in August. I signed up for a networking event where I didn't know anybody that was going to be there. And I said, that's it. Like, I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to create this persona for myself, right?
Mhm.
Like, just put myself in that room. And I had a great time. I met so many new
Good.
people. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this, right? We're all in the same boat. Again, if you have this fear, I guaranteed 10 other people you know have this fear.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but we just don't talk about it enough. So
Mhm.
I just really encourage people to like put yourself out there no matter what that looks like for you.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that because it doesn't have to be something monumental or huge, but just start somewhere. So, like you said, you signed yourself up for a networking event, knew you didn't know anybody, but you went. And I think we just need to look at it, what's the worst thing could happen? Okay, I don't meet anybody new. Yeah,
Yes,
but you
yes.
will meet somebody. So it's just like a lot of times the fears or the things, the narratives we create in our head are worse than the actual experience or the thing that we're fearing. Because after you get through it, it's like, dang, that's it. I was so worried, I was stressing, and it wasn't even that bad. So a lot of times we hype things up and make it a lot worse than it is. And the things that need to be, hyped up, we don't, so we major in the minor. And it's like we
Yes.
have to stop doing that, like just try a new experience. If you don't like it, if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. You can recover, you can bounce back, you can try something else, you can go to another event, so I think we just have to put things in perspective and realize that if I want to grow, if I want to be better, if I want to get to the next level, I got to be willing to try something different or new and stretch myself. And if I continue to stay what's comfortable and what I'm used to, then I'm not going to have any growth there.
Right. It's so true. I'll share a quick story. So, this would have been back in 2020. So, like the height of the pandemic, and we're all in this, I think, these rebirth, right? Like we're all reevaluating our lives, thinking about new things. I was working on some new projects. And again, went out of my comfort zone and put up a post about myself on a Facebook page and shared some very intimate, like personal details about my history and my personal life. And I got flooded with comments and responses
Wow.
from so many people. But I ended up connecting with this one woman who had a very similar story to me. She's now become one of my closest friends. We
Wow.
launched a podcast together. We've been in business like, and that was not even what I was looking for, right? At the
Right.
time, it was just like, I'm just looking to connect and network with more people. At the time, I was running a networking group geared towards single women. So I was just looking to connect with other single women in the same season of life that I was. And by putting myself out there, I've made incredible friends. Like I said, I launched a whole podcast, like really just made these genuine connections that I never would have thought otherwise. And so it was really a lesson to me, like as scary as it was to put that post up, like I put it up and then I shut Facebook down and like didn't go back for hours, right? Like posted and ghosted. I was like, okay, like
Yeah.
it was such a lesson to me that that one simple post that I put out there changed the trajectory of so many things for myself. So as you
Wow.
said, it doesn't have to be something big or monumental, but it's putting up that one post. It's striking up that conversation with that stranger
Mm.
that you might meet on the street or in the coffee shop. Like just challenge yourself and give it a try.
Wow, that's a great testimony because, like you said, you never know what's on the other side of your push of that going out and just doing something that you're a little uncomfortable with. Because a whole podcast, all this great stuff, you met some amazing people. And if you hadn't done it, it wouldn't have happened. So we have to really realize us holding back, we're stopping ourselves from experiencing so much more, greatness or just new levels, new ideas, new businesses because
Yeah.
we're afraid to take that leap. So we gotta, stop being fearful. And I like to say, we don't have to wait to the new year. You don't have to wait to 2025 to try
Every
something
day's a new
new.
day.
Every
Yes.
day is a new day, a new beginning. Go for it. And maybe you should even try to do something new every day or just try a little something different, if not every day, every week. But we've got to push ourselves out of our comfort zones because we don't know what's waiting outside for us. It could be so much that we could, get. And I'll say this real quick. I'll never forget Dr. Miles Monroe. He was a great pastor and an author and motivator. And I'll pose this to you. You probably know the answer, but it said, "What's the richest place on earth?"
Oh,
You
I'm
know,
going to say somewhere like in our hearts or in our minds. But
well, you're going in the right direction, but actually, it's the graveyard because so many people die with their dreams and their hidden things that they just never tried.
oh.
So when he said that, and I read it, I was like, "Wow, that's so true." Because we don't know how many inventions, how many people could have created something, how many millionaires like they didn't share those ideas, they didn't share those dreams, they didn't try, and they took it to the grave with them. And so we got to make sure that we're doing our best to just go all out, live all out, try it, because we don't know what could happen. So that definitely put things in perspective
I
for
love
me.
that.
Right.
If that doesn't push you, right?
Right. Yeah. We don't want to die with our gifts. We don't want to leave this planet without leaving our imprint. And so I
Right.
think we just have to be intentional every day. And it's not about being rich and famous. It's about having impact. It's about, making the world a little better. And it's about, for me, leaving a legacy. Now, I don't have any children yet. I'm not married, but even still, I want to still leave a legacy. I still want to leave a mark on the world. They'll know that Samantha DeLoache was here. The Model and Pharmacist, the Model Speakers Academy was here. So, we have to just have that thought process. So, yeah.
I'm totally with you. I want to know, success looks different for everyone, but I
Right.
just want to know that I made an impact in someone's life. Like, just learn from my experiences, learn from what I've gone through. Said I've experienced and lived quite a bit of life, and so it's like if I could just help that one person
Yes.
by sharing my story.
Mhm.
I mean, and that could change the trajectory of so much, right? It's those ripple effects that you just don't realize that you can create by doing that one little change. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because all of our experiences, I feel, are not just for us, but it's for someone else. What you go through is not for you. It's to be shared for someone else because our test can lead to a testimony. So,
Yes,
yes, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, Alyssa.
thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure meeting you. And I'm going to definitely share her website. But before, we close, tell everybody how to stay in contact with you. And if you got anything going on that we need to be a part of and your social media, just all the things, Alyssa.
Yes. Well, thank you again for inviting me to do this. It's been such a great conversation. So you can obviously connect with me here on Facebook. I am on Instagram at the Alyssa Z. You can go to my website, which is A2Z Hypnosis, A-T-O-Z Hypnosis.com. And connect with me there. I just love to hear from people. I love to chat. I love to talk all things hypnosis, mindset work, and just love to connect. And I want to encourage people, if you do go to my website, and again, we can make sure we can link it, but I actually have a free hypnosis download on my website all about self-love and increasing your level of self-love and self-confidence. So I want to encourage people, if you've never experienced hypnosis, go check it out, download it, find 15 minutes for yourself to just listen to this guided meditation. Find a quiet place, whether it's in your home, your car, not while you're driving, and maybe it's somewhere outside. Just find 15 minutes, carve out that 15 minutes for yourself to just take that time, experience the meditation, and see how it changes.
Wow. Well, you heard it here. You definitely want to go to her website. You want to follow Alyssa on all the social media platforms and download that guide so you can try it out. She said all you need is 15 minutes to have an experience of a deeper connection on self love. So that's beautiful. So thank you so much for coming. And as always, you want to stay tuned for some releasing of dates on the Model Speakers Academy webinar and when the actual academy launches this month in September. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned. There are going to be some more great talks happening today. I think about 5:30, I'm going to have another conversation for public speaking and business. So stay tuned. I have great talks the rest of the week as well.